19th, 2018 edition of the SAFCA Board of Directors. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll and establish quorum?
Thank you. Matt Conan.
Here.
Jeff Smith.
Here.
Tom Brandis.
Here.
Brian Holloway. Here. Cyril Shaw. Angelique Ashby. Jeff Harris.
Here.
Rick Jennings. Sue Frost. Don Natoli. Howard Schmidt.
Here.
Patrick Kennedy. Phil Cerna.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
Thank you very much. I don't have any speaker slips. Is there anybody out there who wants to make a public comment? Seeing none. Oh yeah, let's go ahead and do the pledge. Thank you, Phil.
Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This meeting of SAFCA is being broadcast live and will be re-aired on Saturday, May 19th at 3 p.m. and Sunday, May 20th at 4 p.m. This meeting is also webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv, and streaming video of the board meeting is available on SAFCA's website within 48 hours after the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, so I got ahead of myself. I don't think there are any public comments. And our next item?
Our first item is closed session as listed on the agenda, and the directors will recess to hearing room 2.
Thank you very much.
Call to reestablish the quorum. Matt Conant. Here. Jeff Smith. Here. Tom Brandis.
Yes.
Brian Holloway. Cyril Shaw. Angelique Ashby. Jeff Harris.
Here.
Rick Jennings.
Here.
Sue Frost.
Here.
Don Natoli.
Here.
Howard Schmidt.
Here.
Patrick Kennedy.
Here.
Phil Cerna.
Here.
Thank you. We do have a quorum.
Very good. So next item, please.
Could we have a report out on closed session, Government Code 54956.9, conference with legal counsel, Gilchrist, Johnson, Campbell, and Gilfie.
No action was taken.
Thank you. Our next item is the Executive Director's report.
Well, good afternoon. Just a couple of items real quick. A little bit of good news finally on Natomas. On Reach D, that's up on the across the Natomas Cross Canal, where the Corps is going to be relocating the Vestal drain and fixing the pump so that they can go up and over the levees. We finally were back when they went to award the contract. There was a protest of the Small Business Administration that the low bidder was not eligible. SBA came back and denied the protest, so the Corps awarded the contract, and we're past any protest periods. So we actually can get going on this one. So it'll be a 2-year contract. They'll do the Vestal drain relocation, work on that this year, and then finish it next year along with the pumping plant. So a little bit of good news. On Reach I, this is the one where they've tried several times with a request for qualifications and kept getting held up with claims. So they're going a different route. They've established a list of qualified bidders. 13 of them made the list. There's 3 others that still are eligible after they do certain things to get added to the list. An invitation for bid to just the contractors on that list. So it'll be low bidder. It'll just be based on cost. It's going to go out May 29th, closing June 29th, and then the contract award is scheduled for the 25th of July. So the goal is to be able to get it awarded in time to allow construction of the seepage blanket under I-5 in 2018. And then the construction of the cutoff wall, which would require the greatest impact to Garden Highway with the closure, would be in 2019. And after we have reminded the Corps of the big event that's going to be there at the Discovery Park, after we were reminded in exec committee, so we're working with them on that to make sure that we have that area cleared during that time period there. Then the last activity going on right now is they're currently planting some 5,000 tree seedlings, and that's supposed to be completed by the end of this month. So we finally got a little traction going up in Natomas there. Okay, you should see on your dais a memo from Gualco Group. We have been, ever since, it used to be going way back before we started funding flood at the state level through propositions. Each of the federally authorized plans would be in the general fund in the annual budget with a specific line item for the state cost share. When we started getting the proposition for flood, we got away from that, and DWR were funding their cost share on our projects through the proposition funding. However, a few years ago, 1E money was fully allocated, and we've had over $2.8 billion in new federal projects moving forward with no source. So we've been working closely, very diligently with the legislature and the governor's office. So in the May revise, the governor added $170 million in the general fund for cost share, for the state cost share of core projects in urban areas. So that will give us coverage for a few years on that, and we really appreciate the efforts, and Jack Walco asked us to distribute that memo that kind of says the same thing there. So that's good news. We'll keep working it to make sure. I do know there are some folks in other parts of the state questioning why that was added with so many conditions. So we'll keep working hard to make sure it gets through and gets included in the final bill. And then the last thing is, I'm very anxious for May 23rd. That's when, by law, the Corps is supposed to reveal a couple items, and I believe we have an opportunity to get a significant amount of federal funding in those. The two components of that is on March 23rd, the Congress finally passed the work plan and budget, or appropriations bill, I'm sorry, for the Corps for FY18, even though that started last October. They added $360 million for flood above what was in the president's proposed budget and gave it to the Corps to allocate. That is required by law to be out by May 23rd. Additionally, back in February, on February 9th, there was a emergency supplemental bill that included over $15 billion for work by the Corps for flood reduction. $10 billion of that was for projects in the states that were hit by the 3 hurricanes, and then the other 5 were for states that have had a flood disaster since 2014, which California qualified for. And so we have been working real hard to see how much of that money we could get applied towards our project. So as soon as we get that next week, I will send out an email letting you know, but we're expecting it to be an opportunity to, in these tough times from a fiscal standpoint, to have an opportunity to get our projects move forward a little quicker. So with that, I'll see if there's any questions there.
Any comments? Very good. Thank you, Rick.
Next is consent matters, and items 2 through 5 are in order.
Any comments? We have a motion?
Second.
A second. Any comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Consent passes.
Thank you. Separate matters, item 6, information presenting fiscal year 2018-19 proposed budget.
Wait a second here for the presentation to pop up.
Coming.
Good afternoon, members. Jason Campbell, Deputy Executive Director. It's hard to believe that it's already been a year since I've come up here and give you the current year's budget, and yet here we are again. Today we're proposing to give the board the proposed 18-19 budget. This budget is based on what we know today, not what we might anticipate next week. Just wanted to be able to give you that heads up. So once again, the Safeco budget assumptions include project priorities that we don't see changing over the course of the 12-month period of our fiscal year, from July 1 to June 30. We assume that our projects will advance as planned, and we understand that our budgets are really geared towards delivering projects that get us in compliance with the urban levee design criteria, the urban level of flood protection, as well as the National Flood Insurance Program. Safeco's revenue assumptions include early implementation dollars coming from the state, both in the EIP, which was the Natomas Levee Improvement Program, as well as the Urban Flood Risk Reduction Program, which is UFR, which we have a contract with the state for reimbursements for the levee accreditation project. And we also have assumptions based on our $3.2 million in development impact fee revenues. The budget also assumes that we anticipate $6.3 million in O&M district funds for what we consider our general fund, and we have an estimated $7 million in leftover assessment revenues for the new CC82 after we fund our debt service. So getting a little bit into the overall budget as a whole, taking into those assumptions from the previous page, the overall fund appropriations that we're looking at is $105 million, that it's revenue and expenses. As you can see, we're carrying a $47.6 million fund balance into this proposed budget. That's based on the activities that have undergone with projects that have taken a little bit longer in some instances, but in most cases, we're on track as planned and as fast as we can move with the Corps and the state as our partners. The other part of that revenue is the many different streams that we have. We're going to see we're anticipating $57.7 million in revenues. Both of those things will help us compensate us for the expenses that we anticipate of $77.5 million. And then we have a small component where we charge staff time for labor, and we'll get into that a little bit, to the projects going back to our general fund as our O&M fund is acting. And then we anticipate at the end of the fiscal year 18-19 we would have reserves of $29 million. So again, all funds budget of $105 million. So as I've presented in prior years, the Safeco budget is made up of 6 primary funds, 2 of them which are now very inactive. One of the North Area Local Assessment District, that is in place. We've got some carryover from prior activities that have gone on, so I won't really discuss that much today. But we do have the Consolidated Capital Assessment District 325E, which was replaced by the Consolidated Capital Assessment District number 2, pardon me. CC82 is where we see most of our activity. So going into fiscal year 18-19, we anticipate that we will have about $47.6 million in available fund balance to finance the proposed budget, along with projected revenues of $33.3 million. On the expenditure side, each one of the funds, as you can see, some varying amounts with the bulk of the Safeco activities and expenses taking place in the CC80 number 2, that's our Consolidated Capital Assessment District. It's where our capital projects are primarily funded from. And we anticipate about $67 million in activity in those capital programs, as well as the other support programs within the CC80, such as O&M. Talking about our 325A, our Operations and Maintenance Assessment District, again, expenses about $7.9 million. It's made up of services and supplies as well as salaries and benefits. We have other charges for various engineering activities that don't necessarily fit into a capital project. And we also have some additional efforts that are going on in the Yolo bypass that don't necessarily fit into any of our other funds at this time. Revenues and reimbursements of $7.6 million in total are primarily made up of the assessments for the O&M fund. And then there's that little chargeback of $1.2 million that comes from our staff time being charged to those capital projects back to the O&M fund. And with our little bit of fund balance, we do see a little bit of interest revenue as well. Fund 325F is our development impact fee fund. In this fund, we have a simple moving, 5-year simple moving average estimating our revenues, and the anticipated revenue for next year, according to our proposal, is $3.25 million, 3.2 of that coming from the fee itself, and then a little bit of interest revenue. On the expense side, we see that the services and supplies is really just the administration of the fund and other activities, but we also have a number of capital projects that are being funded directly by the development impact fee. And one of those projects is located, actually 2 of those projects are located in the Yolo bypass. We've had a lot of discussion with your board regarding the activities at Bright Landfill in anticipation of the WRDA 16, as well as other activities for setting back levees in the bypass, both the Sacramento bypass and the Yolo bypass. Those Bright landfill efforts, you can see we're anticipating getting into some real estate and construction in the next year. Moving a little bit further out into the Yolo bypass, we've had some conversations regarding our regional efforts, working with several other partners to advance some of the dialogue regarding Yolo bypass work, which will be needed for us to ultimately identify and mitigate some of the flows that will be coming down from the American River and the Sacramento River. But a number of the efforts there are really to help our partners understand what our impacts, how we can mitigate those impacts, how our impacts can be worked through as a group rather than as individual projects. And one of the discussions that has been taking place regarding the Egbert Tract is to really work with Solano County and other partners on working through those mitigation efforts associated with the flood impacts and additional flows going down to that section. So we are using a little bit of money from our development impact fee to support that project. And then moving into our Natomas local assessment. The Natomas Basin project is continuing, obviously, with our federal projects, as Rick had described just a few minutes ago. The Natomas Fund is basically a pass-through at this point in time where we have a debt service that is being serviced by those assessments. Our expenses are primarily just the creation of the role and the assessment engineering work. We do have the revenue coming in at $2.6 million. That is the reimbursements from the early implementation program. And those reimbursements are being set aside. You can see down at the bottom, we still have a debt service at $2.3 million, and we still have an outstanding debt of about $33.6. Getting onto the meat and potatoes here. So as we talk about the Consolidated Capital Assessment District, we have about $67 million in expenditures planned for fiscal year 18-19. Services and supplies covers the miscellaneous components that would be general accounting type things, not necessarily specific to any project. But we also have other charges that are included in the operations and maintenance component of the CC82. So those $4.6 million expenses are primarily the dollars that we send to the local maintaining agencies like RD1000, American River, City, County, all of your board members' agencies, to actually perform that maintenance on the levees associated with the improvements that SAFCA helps get installed. On the revenue side, we see $21.1 million in revenue based on our anticipated reimbursements from the state for UFR, as well as a net assessment revenue of about $7 million after debt service. And then we also see a little bit of interest earned based on the fund balances that we carry in the bank. So this chart kind of represents what we are looking at as far as our expenditures for projects in CC82. You can see a little more than half of the money right now is anticipated to go towards the North Area Streams and the Sac River, both combining, making up the LAP project. We have additional activities taking place for Folsom Dam, and of course, we have continued efforts taking place in Natomas. In your packet, I think it's the actual last page of your packet, there is a more comprehensive list identifying all of the breakdown of each of the capital projects and each fund. So if you needed a little bit more detail, you can see it there. Getting into the Folsom Dam efforts, we anticipate there's going to be about $6 million in continued efforts for close out the JFP, any modifications to the agreements, as well as continued efforts to get to the Folsom Dam raise. That also includes the water control manual, is my understanding. And then the LAP North Area Streams, a lot of activity taking place currently. And it's anticipated that the project will be completed in next fiscal year. You can see the bulk of the construction costs would occur during this construction season, which would roll into the 18-19 budget. A little bit further into the LAP program, we do have continued efforts on Sac River East Levee LAP, a number of design efforts and real estate discussions and support that is necessary, and we hope to get into a point where we're actually getting into some construction in the near future. But you can see that most of the costs associated with our project expenses next year are associated with preparation for the eventual construction activities. Continuing on a little bit less detail, I guess. Primarily, what we're seeing on our portions of our expenditures for Natomas being anticipated in 18-19 is real estate expenses in preparation of the projects going forward. As you look in the detail in that spreadsheet that I referenced just a minute ago, the $10 million is primarily associated with Reach B. There's a number of relocations and borrow sites and other things that are necessary for the core project, as well as some of those in existing utility relocations. So significant issues to consider. I think actually Rick already covered those. Both the federal and state appropriations items are huge. This budget actually assumes that we have status quo from the state and the feds, which is the normal work plan, the normal budget process, and not the anticipated or highly hoped for supplemental or work plan dollars coming forward. So for next month, what we would anticipate for the budget hearing on the 21st, should we see any changes in the state and federal funding, we would go back and retool some of this budget to reflect what we would see coming from the state or from the Army Corps of Engineers, and see how that impacts the budget and bring that back to you for the public hearing. With that, are there any questions?
Director Thurna.
Thank you. I appreciate the presentation. Can you go back to the slide that showed the budget section on Natomas?
Oh, yes.
There you go. You mentioned the bulk of that, 14.6 million, is dedicated to the real estate aspects of the project, assuming that means acquisition. So you have a separate line item above called program administration. Does the 10,155 for real estate, does that include its own separate kind of administration cost component, separate from the overall program administration cost?
Yes, it does.
What's the approximate percentage?
Oh boy, I would probably defer to John on that a little bit.
And I assume that's for legal, that's for title, that's for
all of the above.
Okay.
Surveying, title, legal, investigations.
Does it also include a contingency for litigation?
I think that would be included in the legal, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, this was an information-only item.
That's correct.
No action needed. Thank you very much, Jason.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 7, resolution number 2018028, adopting addendum number 3 to the environmental impact report on the North Sacramento streams, Sacramento River East Levee, Lower American River, and related flood improvements project and approval of modifications to the project.
Good afternoon, Pete Gelfie, Director of Engineering. We are in the midst of constructing levee improvements along Arcade Creek and portions of the NEM deck in North Sacramento. When we laid out this project for design, we tried to minimize the use of public streets to build the project. One of the assumptions that we made is that our borrow site, which is up near Elkhorn Boulevard, would have to deliver material down to almost near El Camino. With that, we were trying to use the NEM deck, or Steelhead Creek, as that conveyance between the borrow site and our construction area. It was based on the assumption that the NEM deck would be dry, and we had a wet April that inundated part of our haul road and leaving the condition in a wet situation. Have an overhead here, if Linda, if you can blow it up a little bit. The area over here, this is our pump station that's pointing north. The yellow line represents the haul road that would be within the NEM deck itself, and the blue circle represents the wet area that the contractor would have to drive through. That area is too wet to drive through. So what we see here on the top and on the left-hand side of the drawing is on May 7th, that area was directly connected to the NEM deck. It was, the water in the creek was connected to this area, so it didn't have a chance to dry. As you see in the May 16th photo, that thin line of dirt that exists out there now has allowed, as the creek has dropped enough to where it is somewhat separated now, and we are anticipating it to further keep drying. But the timing for this area to dry and allow the soils to be stable enough to have continuous truck traffic over it is going to take a while. The addendum that we are asking you to approve gives us the opportunity to haul on surface streets for a limited amount of time, allowing this area to become what we're planning on as a usable area for the haul road. And so this is what this addendum is looking at, is giving us a time period through the end of June, limiting ourselves to hauling 9,100 yards of material. We're trying to limit it to, or we're going to limit it to 20 truck trips an hour one way. We estimate that to be about 760 truck trips total in this effort. And then staff will continue to work on options to get this haul road in place during that time. Thank you.
Director Cerna.
Thank you. Well, thank you for the explanation you just gave, and also for the individual briefing that you gave my staff and I earlier this week on this somewhat unfortunate decision that we're being asked to make to deviate from the preferred route, which would be in the channel that you just showed. I'm okay with looking at the alternatives here, and again, it's important to remind those that might be following this matter or watching the meeting today that we are required by law to work within the limitations of our CEQA document in terms of the alternative routes that we can use given the circumstance of the wetted area that you just showed on the monitor. We've been shown, the board has been shown a prospective westerly route, Elkhorn to I-5 South to I-80 East, and then another alternative route that would go east and down Rio Linda Boulevard for the haul route. I think we had some good discussion about the merits of either alternative. But what I'm prepared to do, Mr. Chair, is to move the staff recommendation, but to add some language, if I could, and with the blessing from our council, that the contractor, the hauling contractor that would be making these hundreds of truck trips would, to the maximum extent practicable, use the easterly route. And the rationale for that, the way I see it, and I've had some good back and forth and input certainly from Supervisor Frost, Director Frost, as that affects part of her district, is that is a shorter route, and we may incur fewer costs associated with that in terms of the time and the fuel that is spent to haul the soil. So I would like to add that language again, if Safeco Council is okay with that, and make that a motion.
Very good. Director Frost.
Yes. I'm Happy to second the motion. I did have the opportunity to meet with our Department of Transportation. My first concern was around the roads, and would that have damaging effect on our roads, and would we need to be reimbursed? And my impression was from Department of Transportation that this would not be a problem. My second was that if we could find a way to divide the trips between the two roads so there's not quite so much burden on any one road. And I definitely see Supervisor Cerna's point, and I'm amenable to his rationale on how to approach it. So I'll second the motion.
Very good. Holly?
Just so we're clear, Director Cerna, so you would add that the staff direct the contractor to use the easterly route or the second alternative as set forth in the addenda to the maximum extent practicable, keeping in mind that it's a shorter trip and fewer costs.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second. No other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Number 7 carries.
Thank you.
So, last thing, do we have any comments from directors on anything on your mind? Seeing none, we are adjourned at 3:54.